Koihime Musou. Do I really need to talk about this one? I think I've pretty much stated that it's one of my favorites. I really like this anime. It's really, really good. To start off with, let me give you guys the rundown of how I got into it. I was at lunch. This was actually very recent. I can actually tell you guys about this one. This is almost more or less a story. But it was junior year. I'm senior now. But it was junior year. I was sitting at my table, with my group. And by group, I mean just me and my Chinese friend, Lewis. And, we were talking. We both liked anime. And we were talking about Dynasty Warriors. And he's like, oh, have you heard about this anime where it's like girls cosplaying as like the Dynasty Warriors? Guys, like, what? It's like, really? It's like, yeah, it's like they're playing a game or something. It's like, okay, what's it called? It's like, I don't remember, but I'll look it up and I'll write it down. And I remember he wrote it down the next day. He's like, okay, whatever. And of course, I didn't really care to watch it. But then I was on Crunchyroll and I saw a picture of it, and then he's like, wait a second. That's the exact same anime, because I remember the Otome part of the third season. It's like, oh, wait a second, this is that anime he was talking about. I should watch this. And I went on, my webs to watch it. He's like, well, this is cool. It's like, yeah, I watched it, and, it's like, this is good. I should continue. It's like, and I watched it. I really enjoyed it. I really, really enjoyed it. And to start off with, I liked the setting. I could tell already that it was a war-based anime, and for some reason, I got this sense of, like, urgency, like, although they were at war, they were sort of in, like, although they were having fun, it was in war times, and they were probably maybe a little bit on it, I don't know. I just got that sense, I was like, wow, this is really interesting, and I like how, they all lived together, they were basically one big happy family. I got to see Kata pretty early on. Anywho, and so I was like, well, this is cool, but they kept showing cutscenes of what looked like flashbacks, and I'm thinking, wait, that doesn't make sense. If this is the first episode of the anime, then why are they showing flashbacks in that kind of fashion? It seemed odd to me that they were cutting back to an episode like that. Normally they do that when it's been like a previous episode, or something like that, I don't know. But, and, I was like, okay, I should look up, and see what else. It's like, then I found something called Shin Koihime Musou. The first one I saw, that I saw was a Shin Koihime Musou Otome Tyran. Hold on. Shin Koihime Musou Otome Tyran, I think it was called. And then I looked up what was called Shin Koihime Musou, and I watched a little bit, and I was like, okay, this makes more sense. I watched up to, like, right before they started talking about the main point of the episode. It was, one of those episodes that had to, like, explain something. It's like, huh, this, okay, I guess, this is the anime, I don't know. And then, I, decided to look it up on Wikipedia, and I typed it in, but I kept getting results for Koihime Musou, and I'm thinking, oh, and I looked and I was like, oh, okay, so there was actually 3 seasons, and the first one's Koihime Musou, then I need to watch that one, which I did. And at first I tried to watch it on, watchanime.com, but then I switched over to Crunchyroll, and that's sort of where I got into Crunchyroll a little bit. But yeah, that's what started, my big, viewing of Koihime Musou. So thanks, Lewis. Anywho, and it was funny because he was like, I figured, and I was like, I thought, I learned that there were like 3 scenes, like, you didn't know? And it's like, what the fuck? He's also the one who told me that, So-So was a lesbian. He referred to the characters as their actual, historical counterparts, so, what's her name? Choun was Zhao Yun, Ryubi was Liu Bei, So-So was Cao Cao, and Kanu was Guan Yu. He actually went by their Chinese Dynasty Warriors names, which probably makes more sense anyway, considering they have like 4 fucking names. Anyway, so I watched it, when I saw the first episode of the 3rd season, I assumed that the character Ryubi, the girl with the pink hair, was the main character, and that Akanu was actually more of like the elderly sister, the voice of reason of Ryubi, which she sort of is, in a way. But it was interesting to see her as the main character of the 1st season, because it was almost as if like she had like a spin-off or something, I don't know. I thought she was like her mistress or something. I don't know. And of course, I like the theme songs, and it was really fun. I had so much fun watching it. It was just so interesting. The first season is more or less there to sort of explain the whole thing. Introduces all the characters literally by episode, and then they go to like this little thing that they do in each season where they have like this big battle with somebody, and they fought. The bad guy. I can't remember who it was. Oh yeah, it was like the fake Ryubi, who was voiced by Tomokazu Seki, which was sort of, he looks a lot like Kanu's brother. But it's just really interesting. It's just really fun to watch. It just has a charm to it. You guys are gonna hear me say that a lot. That it has a charm to it. I think there's more to it than that with this particular anime, but that's really all I can think of to say right now. It just has that charm. It's fun to watch. It's interesting. All the voices are very fun to listen to. It's an all-girl cast anime, so if you're embarrassed by that kind of stuff and you don't want to look like a sissy faggot, then I mean, not that you would be a sissy faggot by watching this anime. Actually, you would probably be the manliest guy in the world if you watched this anime, in my opinion. But anywho, so I watched the first season and I really liked it, and then I decided to watch the second season, and that was interesting. There isn't really that much development going on, at least for the other characters. It introduces Ryubi in the second episode, and it's really more of a journey about her trying to get her sword. And they find her sword, but then it breaks, because they have to use it to, break a quote-unquote dragon egg, from what I remember. And then they have to deal with the Yellow Turban Rebellion, which, at that point, was really the first time we actually see a reference to Dynasty Warriors' history, as far as I know. Before I go on, I should probably mention, because I keep making the comparison between Koihime Musou and Dynasty Wars. Koihime Musou is basically a version of Romance of the Three Kingdoms with an all-female cast, and done in anime style. Like, they have to have the stereotypical blonde character, which happens to be Sao Sao, who also happens to be a lesbian. I understand there's a bit of a metaphor towards that. I'll get into that if I actually ever read Romance of the Three Kingdoms. But yeah, they made So-So a lesbian, which was awesome. She's like one of my favorite characters too. I don't know why. Probably because she's blonde. Anyway. As far as my favorite character goes, I've got a few. My all-time favorite girl would have to be Bacho.